Hello. Go and say hello. This is Chris Harrison. Say something.
Hello.
This is Chris Harrison, 50% of his friends. And we are in Rome at the Sala Sinopoli, designed by Renzo Piano. And we are here for the premiere, the Rome premiere of Luca Seeing Red. And it's just Chris, me, and 898 other people. Say something.
I'm slightly nervous. You got a message about the Everyman? Come on.
Yes, okay, so there's going to be a premiere of the film at the Everyman in Bristol on November the 4th. Come along, and if you get tickets for that, there is something seriously good in the goodie bag. And on top of that...
that's, by the way, that is Bristol stylies. So on the red carpet, there might be like a 14-year-old Mondial with an oil leak. The 10th and the 12th of November, the film Luca Seeing Red will be shown in 50 Everymans around the country. So that will be a sort of general release for 2 days, and then hopefully there'll be more days next year when you can see it, and there'll be a proper release, won't there, Manish?
Exactly. That is the plan. Thank you.
Hello, and welcome to the Car Podcast with Chris Harris and his friends. An especially happy occasion this evening. We're full of beans and the joy of life, just existing on this amazing planet that supports life in so many ways. This is episode 57, which I do believe the word varieties crept in when describing it, because we all love. What's your favourite, lads? Is it salad cream?
Baked beans.
Is it beans? What is it, baked beans?
Yeah.
I think it's got to be baked beans.
Really
Baked beans,
does.
Manish?
Yeah, definitely.
Baked bean is one of the great inventions. In fact, I'll pose the question: could you like someone that was openly hostile towards Heinz baked beans?
No.
There can't be such a person.
Yeah. That's a dog hater, isn't it? That sort
Let's
of bracket.
move on to our agenda for this week. What have we done in cars this week that doesn't involve a film premiere? A slightly barbed jibe aimed at
Clifford, you
from Neil
bastard.
Clifford, which I rather liked. So I'm going to pass this on to my learned friend, Neil Clifford.
Okay. Well, we had a nice. I'll go back a week. We had a nice dinner with a car company, didn't we, last Friday? That was very lovely.
Yeah.
We weren't in a car, but we were talking about cars. That was nice. And then there's a lovely little, the best coffee in Buckinghamshire, in Tring, run by my lovely friend Aaron, who organised a car event at Halton RAF base. So we got access to see all the secret little helicopters and planes just round the corner from me in Halton, and it pissed down with rain. So thank God we were all in the hangar having his lovely coffee and croissants. So that was nice. That was last Saturday or Sunday. No, Sunday. And then basically I bloody did too much work all week. So I did nothing in the week apart from drive up and down to Salvino. And then on Sunday, it was Bicester. It was Bicester Scramble. And most of us were there. We'll all touch on Bicester, I'm sure. But what a brilliant event. Lovely place. What's going on there?
I
Just
have
tried
no
to
idea.
drink my water and poured it all down my front.
Is
I'm
that
sorry.
what you were doing?
Yeah.
Off
Look,
camera?
It's one of those days.
Oh, it's weed.
And you know what? I sent a lovely little email to my friend Philip that sort of is the big boss there, actually. I don't know if anyone knows that.
Yeah.
But
I know his boss, though.
Yeah,
I know his boss's boss.
I met his boss, but I know his boss's boss.
Yeah.
But I
We
know
lost
the
that,
kid.
didn't we?
And I said to Philip, you know what? Just congratulations. No matter how much amazing metal was there, and Chris Harris won the award of the 2 coolest cars at the bloody place.
Really?
But
I mean,
it's all about the people. Loads of chat. You know it's a good car event when you take no photographs.
yeah.
Yes.
Because you're too busy talking to lovely people, and obviously Robert Denton was there, and everyone else that we love was there, and you know there was supposed to be a storm. It was the end of the world. The BBC was telling us to nail our windows shut because the fucking weather was so bad, and it was a beautiful sunny Sunday morning. So you guys will add some more salt and pepper condiments to my Bicester story, but it's fantastic, and it's only half an hour from my house. It was even better, therefore better than Goodwood.
I second that. I think before we talk about our week in cars, Bicester. So I arranged to meet Max from Alphaholics at Lee Delamere at whatever it was, 6:15. Half an hour before that, I was still looking for the keys to my 205 XS, which I've just bought, and I couldn't find them. Turns out I'd put them in the drawer where I put the dog leads, because that's what you do with your car keys, isn't it? You put them in with the dog leads. I couldn't find the car. Is there anything more stressful than having, if you're like me and you don't really understand organisation, I actually got the car out. It was ready to go in the morning. I put fuel in it. I made sure it would start. It was all ready to go outside where I live, and I couldn't find the keys. And I stood outside and I pretty much cried.
Yeah,
I just
lost
thought,
keys.
I've dealt with bereavements for people that are quite close to me. I didn't cry.
Yeah.
But not finding the key to a G-registered hatchback was almost an emotional incident for me. I was like, I can't believe this. Anyhow, the old banana faithfully started, and I took the banana. I met Max, and we drove to Bicester with him following me in their amazing Super, which is just an absolute weapon. I mean,
Lovely.
you gas GT3, you look behind you, and this bloody car from the Italian job is still right, but it's up your chuff. But what I love about Bicester is I'm not very good at car events. I don't, too many people is a bit much for me. And big gatherings of anything I struggle with, but I really like Bicester. So Philip, if you're listening, it's great, but I love it. It feels good. There's no swank. There's no, do you know what? I just think it's great. I think it's the best
It's
thing
very
in the
good,
car world
yeah.
at the moment, because there's a lovely sense of meritocracy. You turn up there and there's an AX GT could be parked next to a McLaren F1, and everyone is appreciating each other's cars, and it doesn't have any of it's not window dressed. It's dressed with love and affection for this subject that we adore, and sense of equality as well. I really love it. It's different league to anything else out there.
Yeah, it almost feels totally uncurated and uncoordinated, or unbelievably carefully arranged so it looks uncoordinated. It's
I
lovely.
think that's what it is, yeah.
It's
But it's
really
authentic, it's real, and everyone's, and they obviously had an awful, dreadful thing happen, and you sense the relief and joy about Bicester Scramble was back, and everyone was just happy it was back, and everyone was just in a very good, positive frame of mind and wanted to make sure that everyone was looking out for everyone else.
And like all great things, it keeps revealing more. So you go around a corner and you think, I didn't know that bit was there, and I didn't know that bit was there. It keeps giving. There's more and more and more. And you go to another car park. Good God, I can't believe that's there. But I think Bicester is those scrambles the only events where you could imagine that in the furthest corner of the last field of the parking would be a 250 GTO, just because that was the only place that it could park when it turned up. Any other event would go, usher it in and go, no, you've got... But they'd go, no. That bloke in the Daihatsu Shiraz GT-Ti turned up at 7:10. He gets to park there, not you.
Yeah.
Manish, what have you done in cars this week?
I'm afraid I've done very little, but on a related subject, I got to take my lovely Audi A4 Avant to university. I took my son to university in a car, and I've got to tell you, I looked at the amount of stuff that an undergraduate takes with him, minus cricket bag, because a friend bought that. You need a little mini TARDIS, don't you, for the amount of stuff these kids have. And I have to say, it was a very, very emotional day, as these things are. Mr. Clifford gave me a little bit of parental kind of guidance on this. He said that when he did this with his daughter, they were just in floods of tears, or Emma was at least.
Yes.
Neil was in floods of tears, and then they used their Find My phone and found out that their daughter was
in the Wetherspoons within half an hour. Of course.
So she was absolutely fine about it. I have to say, possibly my son was, but I'll tell you what makes this a particularly good car story. After the big emotional beat of goodbye, have a great time, we'll see you in a few weeks sort of thing, I was walking in a little alleyway behind his college, and there was a very nice man called Giles with his wife and his daughter, and he just came up to me and said, Manish, what a pleasure to meet you, and shook my hand. And he was a fellow pod listener, and he was an absolute car nut. And he talked about the fact that he was there to go and check out Oxford Brookes for his daughter, which is a lovely girl. And he said, do you know, I love this pod. And his wife then interjected and said, it's his Saturday morning time. That's what he does. He listens to the pod alone on a Saturday morning, and he absolutely loves it. And he said, you guys have no idea what you're doing for the mental health of guys like me, of men. Men need to talk. And I have to say, what a perfect little story about what we've done in cars laterally, even if it is a diesel Audi with a 2-litre engine.
I could also tell, Giles, that I went to Oxford Brookes, and look what I made of myself. Couldn't hold down a job for more than 6 months, and I've lost all my hair. That's about it.
Ooh.
Right. Cooper, what have you done in cars this week?
Well, there's been no film premiere this week, so I've done absolutely bloody nothing in cars this week. I'm totally gutted.
You bastard.
What do you do when there's no film premiere? I mean, manage. How does I don't understand. It's
They
actually
only happen every 5 years.
Okay.
That's why I made such a big.
I did do some. Actually, it's been an amazing week in cars. Really, we've talked about Bicester and the Scramble, and it really, really was amazing. And you're absolutely right. I've got about 3 photographs from Bicester yesterday.
Yeah, I wanted to put some post up yesterday when I got back.
I thought,
and all I have is the photos people have given me of my cars. I had
That's
no
a
other
good sign.
And
You're right. It's a very good sign.
The other sign is when you look on social media, you see loads of things. You think, I didn't know that was there. There was one of those there, and you think, I just spent so much time talking to people, which is very, very nice and lovely. And we met some friends of ours who live very locally, so we had a little chat with them, quite a big chat with them at the start, and then met a few other people. And it's when you wander around and you sort of wander around talking rather than wandering around looking. You suddenly realize, I think I've been around everything. I must have seen everything. You think I've actually seen very, very little. So the Scramble. So Philip, it was, and Dan. Dan works for Philip, doesn't he? I think that's how it works. Yeah.
Philip's the boss.
Philip's the boss. Yeah. And yeah, Dan must do something else. Anyway, the other thing we did, and Chris, you and I did this on Friday up in Croft in the northeast of England. Brilliant circuit, lovely part of the world. A really well looked after circuit, actually. It's not part of the Jonathan Palmer or Silverstone spheres. It's
Spark, isn't it? It's Truxton's lot.
Yeah,
Ben Taylor, that lot.
Yeah, it's been very well, beautifully looked after. Our friend of the pod, Sir Chris Hoy, as many of you will probably know, this year has launched his Tour de Four charity, which is an amazing fundraising exercise for the 5 leading cancer charities in the UK, which he started up after his diagnosis, and all of his energy being poured into that as he thinks about sort of what next and all the things he wants to do. And he had a track day at Croft on Friday. Chris, you were there doing sterling service, driving lots of customers around at the track day in lots of nice cars. And the boys were there. My boys were there driving that wonderful Revolution Sportscar, giving passenger laps to lots of people. I steadfastly refused to get in a car with them. It just looked far too fast. And I said, no, not because I'm sissy. I'll just spoil it for them because I just want them to go slower. And I ran an auction.
Did you?
Chris, I was hugely honoured to be asked. He said, we're going to do a fundraising auction at lunchtime. And during the week, he said, would you mind running it? And I said, well, of course, I'm honoured and delighted to run it. Never having run an auction before in my life. But I thought, how hard can it be? Actually, it turned out to be really easy because there were some lovely people in the audience who bid some amazing prices for some wonderful auction items donated by some lovely firms and so forth. You see, we'll put a link on the YouTube website about the event, and you can see who donated and all the things that were going on. You'll see on Sir Chris's and Lord Chris of Bristol's Instagram a few pictures of who were there. But a bit like Bicester, it was about happiness. It was a shit day. The weather was shocking. It was the start of Storm Amy. So it sort of started wet and got worse and really, really biblical. But the whole day was really lovely and happy. Sir Chris looked just really chuffed and enjoying it, enjoying driving the cars. He's quite a good driver. He is quite good, to say the least. Loads of people there. He had a great time. Everyone had a great time. Nobody fell out. The car, literally as a metaphor and a vehicle for happiness and enjoyment, and doing nothing other than enjoying each other's company and having a bit of a laugh and talking bollocks about all the stuff we love talking about. It was a perfect week in cars. And Sir Chris, bless you, it was a mega, you're a legend. It was an amazing event. We've got to do one next year.
Right, this is all far too sickly sweet and nice at the moment, so I'm going to bend this right out of shape. So, that Croft, the weather at Croft was absolutely shocking. Like they red flagged it because there was a flood on the road. I drove 5.5 hours to get there in a turbo 50th edition, nice car that, with my mate Dunks from Bristol. Got there, and the first thing I'm presented with is my old 4-litre RS, and a gaggle of people going, I bet you wish you didn't fucking sell that. Which is always a good conversation to start with. So once I got over the urge to just go and cry, I hate to say it, I did melt because, yeah, old Hoy is a good boy. And we had a very good crack with him. I took him out in that 4-litre RS. So Miles Newhouse, who's a legend who owns that 4-litre RS, that yes, I did sell, I shouldn't have sold. He spanks it himself. He's a really good at it. It's done 10,000 miles now, used properly. But he said, if you do hot laps for people and they pay for a lap, I'll get the car sent there. And he did, and he turned up himself. Fucking legend. So we did some laps in that. And it felt like an almost crash quite a lot because the old Cup 2s don't move the water. They're 4 mil the tread depth. So she was moving around a bit at times. And then a Hoy at the end, as he's been known, Sir Hoy. He's called Sir Hoy, by the way, because when we did a race together at Le Mans earlier this year, our engineer, his name escapes me, lovely lady, she didn't know what to call him on the WhatsApp group, so she started calling him Sir Hoy. Can Sir Hoy please bring his overalls for scrutineering? And no one corrected her, bless her. So he was just called Sir Hoy the whole weekend, and it's stuck. It's really bad.
Genius.
Funny when you can laugh about people being a knight of the realm for doing amazing things when you're a fucking motoring journalist, isn't it? But he was legendary, and he says, "I want a lap in the car with you." So he bid for his own charity to come for a lap with me. And
He did.
Genius.
And he was just crying with laughter. So yeah, it was lots of fun. But Porsche deserve a big pat on the back. They bought 3 press cars up there, people to be driven in. They gave us a turbo. Me and my mate Dunks, who's a car trading legend from the Southwest, came up, and it was great to see Dunks' reaction. We drove 5 hours up there, 6 hours back, got back about 8, 9 at night, having left at 5 in the morning, and he just went, road trip. I went, what do you mean? He goes, it was a road trip. It's great, isn't it? When's a road trip bad? He was quite right. We're very lucky. We do a lot more of this, but for someone that has a normal job, a road trip, a sort of midweek road trip, is spectacular fun.
It is.
Yeah, that event was brilliant.
Pure luxury.
I need to just say a massive thank you to the 2 individuals, businesses that supported me or actually created the things that I showed at Bicester. So the M5 Touring, if you want to have a look on Instagram, you'll see that we took that there. It's different. It's a green color now, and it's got the interior done. And Dara's built this incredible engine. These small businesses, like Everything M3 or Everything M and GP Customs Classics, they take big risks doing this shit. You know, they don't have limitless resources. Yeah, you know, I'm not a blagger, but they put their time into these things and they take a punt. I take a bit of a punt, but they take a bigger punt, I think. And I want to reward that bravery with getting them business. They're spectacular people to work with. And all I can say about the cars, which I think looked sensational and really special, is that I hope they helped pique an interest in renewal and modifying something you've already got and personalizing it, adding a touch. Maybe don't buy another car. Maybe do something special to an existing car.
Yes.
I think both those cars piqued that interest. And the other thing is, really enjoy the process that you go through and choose who you do it with. Because, and I'm sure we've all done this, you know, we've all had projects that the joy isn't just in the end product, in that you get to meet a new person. And I look at Dara and Peter and think, these are people I'd far rather have a beer with than people I've called friends for 20 years. You know, they're great. They're really, really good lads. And I just love doing both cars. It's been so much fun. There's painful moments, obviously, but when you get to see, people stood by what they've created. I didn't create these cars. I had an idea. They're the ones that executed, and you see the pride in what they've created. It's like, and they're in amongst, the M2 CS is being launched next to their car, and there's just a bloke from near Reading who's had to deal with my mad ideas about what an Integrale cabin should look like. And I think he's just knocked it out of the park. It's just mega to see. So
It is.
do it. Don't buy another thing just yet. Maybe pass some love over the thing you've already got.
Here.
Oh, this is bloody brilliant.
This is good.
Who wrote this? Was this you?
Yeah.
Clifford.
Yeah.
Draw the line where the supercar starts and the sports car ends. I mean, this is
Oh.
right. I'll give it to you, Neil, because you thought it up or you expressed it that way.
I think
it's so hard. It's so hard. This
is
isn't
it? We'll find out.
Ooh.
Well, the thing is, it changes over time, doesn't it? It's very, very fluid because I don't know. In the 80s, we would have said, okay, let's draw it at horsepower. Anything that's over 400 or 350 or anything that 0 to 60 was always the measure almost of the peak. First, it was 6 seconds. I remember the 6-second debate, and then you remember the 5-second debate. Oh, the Porsche Turbo 930 has broken the 6 second, and then suddenly 4 seconds came in, didn't it? Where was that? Sort of F40 maybe 959, and then now it's 3 seconds, and a fucking Carrera T can do it in 3.3 or whatever, can't it now? So you can't really say it's in 0 to 60, can you? And then,
well, surely the EV exploded that as well, didn't it?
Yeah,
EVs exploded it. And then maybe there's a judgment. This is where I get a bit too nuanced. That there's different levels of judgment depending on the mark. If you're Lamborghini, Ferrari, maybe Aston Martin, maybe you've got different rules of supercar versus sports car. But if you're Porsche, if you're a little more mass, maybe you got to. It's only the peak one. It's only the top. It's only the cherry on the cake, like the turbo. You can never say 992 Carrera S or whatever. I don't even know what the models are of 992. I'm so fucking bored with 992 that it can't be a supercar. It's got to be the top one only.
The badge on the back is too long. If the badge is too long, it ain't a supercar.
Porsche really lost the plot on badges. But as Aston Martin Vantage, is that a supercar? I don't think it is it? No, DB12 maybe just gets in there. I think Vanquish maybe is. So I think I would go now. If someone said to me, look, stop fucking waffling, draw some rules, I would say 600 horsepower. If it's V12, automatically in the club of supercar. And then in the twos, 0 to 60, as long as it's not electric. And then if it's a Lamborghini or Ferrari, then you're in anyway. There you go. There's my rules. I know.
Not often I disagree with you. It's not often I disagree with you, but I think we're quite far apart on this.
No,
I'm far apart.
That's the point of this. This is why
I think it's really interesting. Can I tell you what my rule is? There's only one.
Were you going to? Go on.
Would you put it on a poster and stick it on the wall?
Yeah, I think I agree with you.
If you stick it on a poster on the wall, it's a supercar. If you don't, it ain't.
Is that a purely aesthetic judgment? Is that what you're?
No, it's absolutely not an aesthetic judgment.
Go on.
No Lamborghinis are supercars.
Say again?
No Lamborghinis for me are a supercar now. I wouldn't put one of those on my wall.
So this is where there is something about how it changes through time. So in the 70s and 80s, I mean, the difference, the world then was a bit more black and white. It was a bit more black and white. And the comparison would be the sports car would have been watching Return of the Saint with Ian Elgavy on a Sunday night. Jaguar XJS. It was accessible. We could sort of see it and understand it.
Mm.
Spy Love Me, James Bond, Barbara Bach, Esprit is a fucking submarine. Totally inaccessible. It's the difference between what we could see was accessible and not. Is it black and white? Is it grey? Or is it just Technicolor? So now there aren't posters, are there? There's the stuff that's on Instagram and all these people, some of them are at Bicester or wherever they are, taking photographs of cars. So what the modern equivalent of, there's a poster you've cut out of a magazine or went to Athena or wherever it is, stuck it on the wall. The modern equivalent is, who takes photographs of stuff and puts them on Instagram? So I don't think an Aston Martin, I'm not sure any of, is a Valkyrie a supercar? Absolutely. Is a V8 Vantage a supercar? Absolutely not. Because, you wouldn't put a poster of it on your wall. I think at one level...
Valkyrie's hypercar, though. There's another level. There's hypercar, supercar.
True.
I'm not sure, but I think hypercar is a properly shit term. Right, let's move on. Manish.
My understanding is the first supercar was a Lamborghini Miura. That was the first time.
300 SL.
So I think that the Miura was the first time that somebody coined that term. Now, 300 SL, there are probably other cars that do that. And it's, as Neil says, it's quite fluid, this, because you can have your kind of platonic ideal 1967 supercar. But what is it about that? 385 horsepower is not particularly remarkable. 5.7 seconds to 0 to 60 is not particularly remarkable. But oddly, I think Mr. Cooper kind of has it, because it's not just a poster, but it's sort of almost like it's almost like hologram poster. When you look at that poster, you're not just looking at the image. You've got some internal fuzzy wuzzy feeling about what that car also is. And that really informs the poster. And I wrote down a few thoughts which were, in any objective term, something like an F12 probably is a supercar. But is it a supercar if you put it next to a LaFerrari? In any objective sense, it's funny, this hypercar thing, I don't know, I just view it as a bit of a marketing hype. I think there are sports cars and supercars. I think the hypercar thing I just put out, but we've been talking about the Testarossa, the new Testarossa. Is that a supercar? Possibly in any objective term. When you stick it next to an F80, which one is the supercar? And I don't think. See, it's really weird. So I read a very, very dull article by a Ferrari dealer who said basically all Ferraris are supercars. But the photo he had above it was a profile of a Portofino. And I thought, that is not a supercar.
That's not even a Ferrari, let alone a supercar.
This is an inclusive podcast. Cooper.
Exactly. I don't dislike them as much as you do, perhaps, but I'm just saying it's a really, really funny thing. So somebody objectively in the 60s comes up with the term supercar to describe a very pretty car with fantastic performance. And then everything kind of molds itself. I mean, I would say a Countach today is still a supercar. That's not down to its performance. It's not down to its weight, certainly not down to its build quality. So I think there are these little things in history that were defined as supercars, which may not have the performance to go up against a bog standard Ferrari today, but they're still supercars. And that's, I think, your poster test. But I think absolutely beyond that poster test, though, there probably is some weirdly fluid performance metric. So what a supercar is today, you divide it by whatever.
I think Manish is right. We've got troubles here because Clifford's now gone to his top trumps archive. So if you can't see this, if you're listening to this, he's now holding up top trumps that say supercars on the front. Top Trump is one of the worst places to nominate what a supercar is. Because someone like Volkswagen would pay to have the Golf BB or something in there. They pay you go, what the fuck's a BB Golf? And it has 210 horsepower. So, first things first. No Porsche 911 is a supercar.
Tick.
No turbo, no GT2 RS. It's a sports car. It just isn't. It's a sports car. I agree with Mr. Cooper that the Athena example feeds how I feel about this. So the supercar exists as a statement in time. So Manish is right. The performance metric only matters at time. Supercars are measured really on impact, visual impact. Impacts are sort of visceral impacts, and when you get to see one as a child. And maybe
Supermodels, like a
what's so bad
supermodel.
now is that the reason why a Miura or a Countach or Diablo is a supercar is you might not ever be lucky enough to see one in the flesh in the UK.
Exactly.
And when you did see one, the impact you only knew when you'd seen a supercar when you saw one, because it made you feel something different as a kid. You went, oh my God. You could see a 911, hear a 911, you could see a special car, a fancy saloon car with a 6-cylinder engine. But if you saw a Miura in 1972 out and about in Buckinghamshire, you would go, what was that? It's a
Yeah.
spaceship. So I think impact is a word that really matters with supercar. It impacts you in a way that you can't quite describe, even if you don't like cars. I do believe a 911 isn't a supercar. I don't like the term hypercar. I think I was one of the first people to use it. I can't claim it. I definitely was. I remember writing it and thinking that's clever. But I just think if you've got to find new denominations, you've sort of undone what was there before, but not in a
And you're in
helpful way.
marketing.
Yeah, you're just making up new terms, aren't you?
But
And I-
isn't it a car that's been it's a new genre of car, isn't it? Over 1,000
what is a
horse,
hypercar? What's a hypercar doing that a supercar isn't doing?
over 1,000 horsepower.
But it's still when we talk about. Let's forget the sort of.
I'm being a bit binary.
You are, but yeah, let's forget the empirical side. Not talk about numbers. What's it doing? We can bring it back to impact, how it makes you feel, what it looks like, how different it is to a normal mode of transportation. Really about how different it is. Hypercar doesn't move the game on. It's just the same fucking thing with a different term for me. So I think supercar, the poster test is really good. It's really good.
Yeah.
But then I had a poster of a 928, and that's not a supercar, is it?
See,
So
it is a really interesting debate, this, isn't it? Because it's a bit like this. This is slightly a male sort of perspective on a sort of the modern world of data and massive amounts of information and analytics would say that a pretty face actually has some common characteristics, which are to do with the ratios of distances between eyebrows, cheekbones, nose, proportions, blah, blah, blah. And that data would tell you that there is a common reaction or a consistent or weighted reaction to what the data says. Or you could say, I just like the look of it. It makes me feel better. And I think you could look at it both ways, and you could reverse engineer the answer to say, oh, that's because the characteristics of the thing you like on the poster are blah, blah, blah. But
can I add one thing to that? Can I add one thing? Because you made a good point. I deliberately interrupt. I think it's easier for a vehicle that's less super to be classified as a supercar if it's Italian.
Yeah.
I think we afford. I just think a shit Maserati can be knocking on the door being a supercar if its specification on paper was no different to an ordinary German car.
And that's why I used the analogy earlier on about, is it like watching Ian Ogilvy in Return of the Saint, or is it like going to the cinema, which when we were younger was quite a big deal to
Okay,
watch.
let me give you 5
James
cars,
Bond.
and you could all tell me whether they're supercars
This is
or
a
not.
good game. You may proceed.
Go on.
Okay, here we go. Lamborghini Gallardo.
Sports car.
Gallardo. You know the fucking car.
Play the bloody
Supercar
game.
or not?
Sports car.
No, sports car.
I think it's a really good one, that. I had one. It's a sports car because there was one that sat above it in the range that was a supercar.
Okay. Toyota 2000 GT.
Sports car.
Sports car.
Yeah, it's a sports car, but I see where you're going with it.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's smart.
Aston Martin V8 X-Pack.
Super GT.
No, fucking.
You can't say that.
That is a brute in a suit, which we're going to come to in a minute.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's the next thing on the agenda.
Exactly.
Right. Okay. Ferrari 458.
Sports car.
It's not a supercar.
Sportscar.
Sports car.
Okay.
The series production Ferrari isn't a supercar.
Thousands produced.
Not even not an F12.
I think it's a sports car.
So difficult. It's a Super GT.
No, there's no such thing.
There's no such thing.
Lamborghini Espada.
Sports
Supercar.
car.
Fucking cool.
Yeah.
Can
Cool
a supercar have 4 seats?
Yes.
Oh God.
See, I think it can, because this is where, how does it make me feel, and do I want the poster on my wall?
What's that
Transcend.
Koenigsegg that's being about to be in existence for the last 7 years that they've never made? That thing. That's a supercar, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't even know. I get them all confused, those slightly Swedish, ugly-looking things that, no one ever knows. You can't even spell it, what all those cars. Fucking dyslexic. You got no chance. Zinger. They all sound like a burger from KFC, most of those fucking things.
Yeah.
But I would say, the original 930 Turbo 1977, so that to me was a supercar.
It was on the poster.
It won the 0 to 60 in that car, the car thing.
It's the shape of the shape is almost more important than performance.
No,
I tell you what.
You can't say it's a shape. You can't say an apple's an orange because it's fucking round.
No, but if it was lower, if it was slower, but it looked like a fucking dart and it was about 1 foot high, it would be a supercar. If it was Italian, it's just not fair on the 911. The 911 is too German.
Yeah, no, I think
I'm actually with Neil on this one, because in 1977, when you were watching Return of the Saint, and you could only dream about being let to go to cinema when you're growing up, when you saw the 930, either the 3 litre or the 3.3 in a poster, it was completely unobtainable, inaccessible. You never saw one. You believed they might exist, but in the magazines, you only saw it with German number plates on it. You didn't know anybody was ever going to talk about it. It made you think it's only got one door mirror to make it faster.
Okay, I'll give you one more. Alfa Romeo Montreal.
Oh, that's a GT car.
Yeah, that's none of the above.
Not enough power.
I saw it as a supercar at the time.
Yeah.
Interesting. This is a great game.
Yeah, we'll come back to this one.
We should definitely come back to it.
We'll definitely come back to this one. This is not over yet. This is not over.
It will never be over. I think it's a great game.
Chris, sorry, you said that you had a friend who had the ultimate definition. What was that? Your mate?
Who, me?
Yes, you said that you had a friend.
It was really important. Actually, it was the 911 ones.
Yeah.
He answered a different question, but I quite like it when people do that. He answered it. It's Alex West, who's a good buddy of mine. He's got some mega cars, and I went like Chris, did lots of racing with him. He's a good driver, and I said he's Swedish and can be brilliantly clinical, like they all can from those countries. And I just said, well, on the agenda later on is when does a sports car stop and a supercar begin? And he went, I don't know. He goes, but I'll tell you this: no 911's ever been a supercar. And I thought he's nailed it there.
Yeah, it's quite good.
I do believe that. It reminds you that it's not just about spec speed. It's about the presentation of the vehicle. What does it say? The 911 has always wanted to remind you that underneath it's a practical car. That, regardless of how much power you put in it, there's space. I mean, maybe what we want to search when we define the supercar is that it's a deliberately awkward device. It needs to be carry with it compromises and awkwardness. They're self-conscious cars, supercars as well. The 911 isn't self-conscious. The 911 just gets on with the fucking job. A supercar shouldn't get on with the job. It should piss you off. It should, it should be a bit noisy. It's got idiosyncrasies, awkwardness. Whereas I think the 911 doesn't have any of that. The 911 is just a device.
Yeah, it does. I think we would welcome people's opinions in the comments.
I think we'll get that anyway.
On the definition of a supercar.
We've just done an hour on it ourselves.
We need to get our comments. We need up to 1,000 comments, please.
Yeah, we need to break that 1,000.
I'm going to skip one of these because we're going to run out of fucking space here.
Go on.
we might. Can we do Is Driving Slowly Joyful next week?
Yes.
It'll
You happy
still
with
be
that,
joyful
boys and
next
girls?
week.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll be joyful next week.
Yeah.
But we've just given that one away. Tune in next week for Is Driving Slowly Joyful with Neil Clifford and his finger. So let's go for the Formula One. Put your hands up. This is a visual one if you watch the Formula One race or listen to it on the radio. Everyone did. Wow, that's unusual for all of us to do. I'm going to go straight to Manish on this.
I'm going to say that Zach Brown got paid £37 million.
Yes.
He's clever.
He's very clever. 37 million times more clever than many people. Isn't that just an extraordinary?
It's brilliant.
I agree. I mean that company was nowhere 10 years ago. They were in so much trouble. Even in COVID, there was so much trouble, and they're double world champions. The last time McLaren won back-to-back championships was when the greatest driver who's ever breathed air. I was giving you that little window and you took it.
Well, you just spoiled him a half volley there, and he's got. I think you went a bit early there, Cooper. You might
A little bit.
Ever so slightly.
I think you
Little
nicked
angle.
the slip there. You went early, yeah.
1991, Senna. So that's a great. I mean, I'd say this was probably for me the most boring race of the year. The thing about Singapore is it always styled itself as kind of the Monaco of the East, and the problem is with these massive cars, if they don't overtake kind of immediately, i.e. the first corner, you really don't get too much track action. It was such a dull race. Tire offsets, this, that, and the other. I mean, probably the most exciting bit was Lando caroming off the back of Max into his teammate, side swiping his teammate, and then Oscar kind of going, well, that was against the papaya rules. Chris Harris, are you yawning? It really wasn't the most exciting race. But what I would say is, I mean, I'm really thrilled McLaren have done it again. And as Andrea pointed out, with 6 races to go,
Yes.
they've done a kind of Michael Schumacher in 2002. They've won it, or Nigel Mansell in 1992. They've won it so early that, I mean, I suppose I could put a question to my learned colleagues. Now, with 6 races to go, should they just forget papaya rules? Is it time just to dump those and let them just go for it?
I
Because
think that might have been decided between the drivers already, but that's
Yeah.
so you say that did you feel a little bit of invective from Oscar then? Just sort of going, okay, I've played the team game. He's sideswiped me. I'm coming back.
I'll answer that without interrupting you. I think papaya rules has served its purpose. I think the brilliance of Zach is he never defined papaya rules for fair play between his drivers. He got it so he could secure the Manufacturers' Championship, which is a load of money for the team. And now he knows that one of his drivers is going to win the World Championship. And frankly, it doesn't matter to him which one wins them. And so I think he's been incredibly clever. Papaya rules protected the team.
Yeah.
It didn't protect the drivers. But if I was one of their drivers, I'd be feeling a bit duped because surely the realization is it wasn't for them. It was for the team. And now they're going to dust it out. And I'll add the other thing. If you've got a drying circuit, 1,000 horsepower, slicks, and it's nighttime, and the worst thing that goes wrong is that Lando has a little snap of oversteer, pops into the back of someone, and then touches the car to his right. I don't understand how there were so few accidents with these. They're superhuman.
Yeah.
That was a nothing incident, and that can happen the other way around any number of times. If he didn't go for that gap, everyone would have gone, "You absolute shandy! You shouldn't be in the car." So he was damned if he did or damned if he didn't, wasn't he? Really. So I'll pass it on to Chris Cooper. What did you think?
So we said this earlier on in the year. The papaya rules. I never liked the idea of it because I generally don't like, because so much of my life is spent in corporate world, where you try and dress up simple things with fancy language, and you think actually you're going to miss the point. And I said way back earlier in the season, we won't know whether they're working until it gets to the business end of the season. They haven't been tested yet. They're both winning races, blah, blah, blah. They're being nice to each other. Yeah, but it didn't mean anything back in the spring and early summer. Now it means something. And suddenly Oscar doesn't like it. Rightly or wrongly, he doesn't like it. He felt he'd been wronged on balance by, well, hang on, I had to give you back a place after a pit stop mistake, which was racing. And now, I think you're right, Chris, I think it was a nothing event. But the whole shebang of this stuff has raised expectations to say, oh, hang on a minute, Mummy and Daddy, I've had a little hurty as well. Can I have my Bobo made better as well, please? And that's where Oscar was on
What's
Sunday.
the Bobo?
What's a Bobo?
Bobo. Is that not an international lexicon of little hurty on your little finger winger?
Oh, is
Little
that what
Bobo.
it is?
Oh, so we now know. Well, we now
I'm
know
here to
what
help.
yours-
A little Bobo, little hurty. Anyway, so I think they're reaping what they've sown on that one. The other thing is, and Toto, I'm with Toto on his reaction to that. Toto's the point of my second observation. For fuck's sake, Toto, when George does a really good job, like nailing it in qualifying, for fuck's sake, try and look happy for him. I mean,
That's all gone wrong, hasn't it? There's not a lot of love there at the moment.
I mean, a number of things George said. He said, it's been a really strange weekend, and it'd be easy to read too much into what he says. But, and I suspect when I talk to people who know about these things, they do say it's just about, they're nearly there on agreement. It's how many sponsor days and blah, blah, blah. But, you know, who knows? I'm not involved in it. The big thing must be, Toto, are you going to give him a 2-year plus deal, or are you going to give him a 1-year deal because you want to see what the cars are like next year and you want to leave the door open to getting Max in 27? And George is sitting there saying, how much do I need to do? I thought George was brilliant this weekend after stuffing it in the practice day on the Friday to then nail qualifying the way that he did. I'm with you, Chris. There's on a nighttime track, bit wet, particularly first of the race. I mean, there were a couple of yellow flags, but no safety cars, no virtual safety cars, no real. They're all bloody good, aren't they? I was going to play. I haven't got time to do it now. There's a bit I found, actually, Karun Chandok put it on his Instagram. There's a little clip without any bleeps on it of Fernando and his engineer
Genius.
after the race. And you think it's just a loop repeated of Lando, but it's not. I cannot fucking believe it. I cannot fucking believe it. I cannot fucking believe it that Lewis had been allowed to ride over the curbs with no brakes, blah, blah. Apart from reminding us that Lewis doesn't get Christmas cards from Fernando. It did. I thought Fernando did a great job. He drove really, really well. And if Luca was here, he would say about Fernando, he drives with passion and determination. And I love that.
Also,
Chris,
who's the one other driver apart from Lewis who would absolutely attempt to finish a race with no brakes and no wheels? Fernando Alonso.
Chris, the quote is really, really genius. For me, you cannot drive the car when it's unsafe. Sometimes they try to disqualify me with no mirror, and now you have no brakes and everything is fine. I doubt it.
Yeah, it was. It's hilarious. You got to find it on Instagram. It's really funny.
Neil Clifford, what did you make of it? Did you stay awake?
I did. I mean, Manish is right. It is a bit bloody boring, isn't it? I was really chuffed. It was just great to see another car manufacturer winning a race. I don't know why all of us, including me a little bit, and we debate it almost as a family, why there's not as much love for George as there should be, really. It's a funny one, isn't it? Because he's a little bit icy. He's a little not so easy to love, even though you want to love him, because he's winning. He's a British Formula One racing driver that's winning races. But I thought it was quite cool for Mercedes to win. Max can still win, can't he? I think it would be really great because I saw today that it's only the second time that a brand has won the manufacturer championship with 6 races to go. It's only happened once before. So it's a pretty amazing feat by McLaren, and we should all be super chuffed for that. And being a sort of Anglophile, I want Lando to win now. I think it'd be great if they just went for it and fought like hell and sort of Senna Prost crashes and dramas. That would be really good. But I'm chuffed for George. And there was also, did you see that thing? I can't. Was it Lawrence and Toto talking about? They overheard them having a meeting about Christian going somewhere.
See that.
Yeah, there was a thing about should Where was I? A bit useless now. I can't remember. People remind me. But there was a whole.
I saw the sky shot of them. They're in a huddle
That's
together,
right.
weren't they?
Yeah, they were discussing the appointment of Christian to one of the, and it wasn't a sort of because Haas hasn't happened, has it? That was all bullshit. It
Yeah.
didn't really take place. But it was, yeah, I'm sure he's going to pop up, and hopefully he does pop up somewhere brilliant because we miss him and he's talented and he adds a lot of value to Drive by Survive.
I think there's something brewing in the plot of this F1 season that might come good for us viewers, and it might be unkind to the team papaya. Max has just got the look of a man that knows that these two young'uns in their orange cars could take each other out at any time now. If the happiest man after Singapore, even though Max didn't win the race, and I know he's frustrated because I think his car wasn't working, he must be thinking, right, the gloves appear to be coming off. Both of them, when it came to a 50-50 ball, for the whole of this season have behaved impeccably. And actually, they've avoided any real conflict. But Singapore slightly changed that. I don't think it should have done, actually. I think Oscar's the more deserving of the two drivers to win this championship. Judged by who makes the fewest mistakes, Oscar has put together a much more impressive season than Lando, I think. Even though I'm British and I want Lando to win, but judged as a journalist, the Australian is more deserving of this title than Lando, I think. But I think there's just something brewing here where you got the baddie that people still think is the baddie in his Red Bull. And I think Max now, the Max of a few years ago would have just gone toe to toe and had a fist fight with anyone, regardless of who they were. But now I can just see him just stirring the pot. There's going to be stuff that's going to happen in qualifying. He's got to get Lando back for that perceived slight in qualifying. But all it takes is one weekend where those two orange cars get it wrong or something goes wrong or they take each other out and Max scores maximum points, this championship will look very different then. So I just think there could be something brewing here.
I just say just one thing about Red Bull. There are a lot of reports that part of the performance is the new floor. That's fine. The car's working. But there were some really well corroborated reports that part of Red Bull's latest ascendancy is a real change to how they operate on a weekend. They're not hitting the brakes. They're really evolving. They're getting the setup close to right, and they've evolved their system such that they just fine tune. So Max is basically orchestrating the car that he wants for the race. And I think that does make it a weapon. And to flip it round, on the basis that you and Mr. Cooper are the racing drivers out of the four of us, and you both agree that Lando's little excursion was actually a nothing thing, I think Oscar will conclude that as well. I think when he sees the replays, he'll realize Lando went in a bit tight, slightly bounced off Max and hit him. I don't think he's going to be quite so furious. And I think he's a very cool, very smart customer, I think.
He didn't come across
and
as
he just
that
tried it on.
yesterday.
I think he just tried it on.
But his head exploded for half that race. He got it back. His engineer did a great job bringing it back, but he's on the radio.
I agree. I think the whole papyrus rule thing and the contortions over the pit stop thing in Monza reasonably, I think, made Oscar and probably Mark, his boss, who's got form and experience of how these things can unfold, thinking, well, Mummy and Daddy will make it better. And I almost think that sort of childlike, reaction, but is ironically going to play into what Chris has just said, which is Max Mizzino just thinks, hey, I'm just going to feed this and see what happens. And then the little kiddie winks in the orange cars are going to, and then suddenly Max just...
But not to extend this too much, but Lando is driving like someone with nothing to lose. Oscar is the one who's having to sit and play, as Chris said actually a couple of weeks ago, a couple of games here. He knows he's got Lando covered off, or he thinks he has, and he knows that Max is a threat. So he's actually competing against two people. Whereas I think Lando's competing against no one, and I think Max is also competing against
apart from
no
himself.
One. Yeah, so I mean, I think that's the point. I think that's the weight of Oscar. And I think he's a phenomenon. I don't think he's the same phenomenon as Max. I think Max, as you guys use the word perfectly, is an alien. But I think Oscar is this is his third season in Formula One. He's been leading the championship for pretty much 3/4 of the season so far. He feels he's been a little bit shackled. You may be right. I think he's far too cool to go around smacking anyone off. I think he's just worked out how the rules work. And I think that's the angst that you heard. I think that was the kind of, wait, hold on, what's a calculation? I'm making this calculation at 200 miles an hour in 60-degree heat. I think he's made his calculation. I thought he was absolutely awesome in the pen because he understood it doesn't matter what bile I feel welling up inside me, my team are double world champions. That's what I'm going to say. And you could see it.
For a young man, the control
drives with his brain. I love it. Max was never like that. We've seen Max all the way through his season. He's always been feisty, combative. That's why, in a way, we kind of like him. Oscar's got this calculator brain and this complete ability to control himself. It's just impressive. It's utterly impressive.
So I'm gonna leave the Formula One chat with one thought.
Yes.
For me, the best thing I saw, actually, I listened to Sky, but through my car radio, was Lance Stroll. Absolutely, you heard it. It was brilliant. His engineer came on and said, "Car in front of you is on 40 lap old hards," and he went, "Well, I feel like I'm on 100 lap old mediums." And it was just lovely. It added a note of levity, and it's very easy just to write these particular drivers off as being
that was brilliant.
But it was a really good piece of humour back down the radio. Racing car humour from the cockpit side is quite difficult to generate when you're dealing with 1,000 horsepower. So Lance, one of the best comebacks I've heard in a long time. Congratulations! I thought it was very, very good. Right, this is a good one. We like this. In fact, this might be my favourite subject of cars. Brute in a suit. Name one. There's one particular part of this group that will struggle to name one. So I'm going to go to him first. Mr. Cooper, you're allowed to name one. Don't name three and then go, this is my one. Okay?
It's an Aston Martin V8 Vantage X-Pack, as Neil has already said. Why is it? The brute in the suit, to go for another, I mean, isn't it obvious and self-explanatory? It's sort of it's Sylvester Stallone in the 1990s. He's wearing a suit, but we still know it's Sylvester Stallone. And I think there's something about that sort of, he's only just in it. That's a special suit that he's wearing because it wouldn't fit an ordinary person. But it still just about stays on the right line of decorum, presentableness, and not causing too much alarm or fuss in certain establishments, where something rather coarser or rather more flamboyant or, individual might have caused offence to other members in the group. And I think the reason I raised it last week as a point of discussion was, I think we're in danger of losing the meaning and the true depth and why it's really, really interesting, because analogously, the suit now that brutes are in automotively, to my mind, there are no socks anymore. Socks have gone. The trousers are too short. They are squeezed around these distended sort of lower leg muscles. The buttocks are far too visible in the seat of the pants of the trousers of the suit.
This is everything that Clifford hates. You old bastards.
And I think
I just think I worry about his ability to describe buttocks.
Yeah. Who mine? I'm glad I can't describe
You
buttocks.
also did this.
I'm glad I can't do. I think you know what I'm saying. So I think the answer is, it is every time you see, there was a Simon Kisden, I think he's still got that 6.3.
He has, yeah.
Yeah. And there's a video he did a long time ago now where he's filling, I think he's filling it with petrol, some petrol station somewhere in Switzerland. He makes some analogy about Oliver Reed. And somewhere in that video, he coins the phrase, "It's a brute in a suit." And I think, yes.
That's with the open exhaust pipes through the tunnels.
Yeah. And that sort of fancy, sort of Italian, loose sort of test drive he's got was just perfect for the part of that film and that car. The juxtaposition of the British English brute in the suit, and this sort of, hey, you know, I can kind of just about be bothered, but I think this is exciting. So I think, do we still think brute in the suit still exist today?
We do. And I asked you a simple question just to say name one, and you've managed to do it in 11 and a half minutes. So I congratulate you again for your powers of brevity, Mr. Cooper. Let's go to Neil Clifford.
Has to be British. Okay.
I think it does. I agree.
Well, I think the suit. Well, maybe because
Exactly.
we're all British, but for me, it's all about Savile Row and understated, but
Absolutely.
you know, with a big bloody engine and a big muscular thing, as Mr. Cooper described. I'm going Bentley, but I'm not going the Bentley that you would expect me to be going.
Oh.
I'm going 15995 on Car and Classic. Because I don't, you know, I think you can get into Brute in a suit cheaper than you think. Bentley Turbo R, 1990, early car with the nicer wheels and the lovely steering wheel. It looks as like a normal Bentley four-door saloon in a slightly E500 Mercedes way, but they whacked a turbocharger the size of, you know, a Boeing 747 on this thing, and it's got 400 horsepower, and it goes like a Nimrod submarine. But actually, you know, on the face of it, you look a bit boring, you look a bit staid, look a bit sort of old-fashioned, but actually you're not. You're a fucking brute in a suit.
And your lovely friend, talking about the E500, your lovely friend, one of your lovely friends, Chart, lovely chap, brought his E500 to Scramble yesterday.
Lovely colour.
It's a stunning spec, that car.
And half leather cloth, you know, super suit. It's the spec you would design if the configurator still existed for an E500.
Exactly that. That's why I parked next to him. I thought that's
an E500 or a 500E.
Could that be a brute in a suit? Could it be a brute in a suit?
Yeah,
not for me because it's German.
That's my favourite one.
Yeah, except it's German. Almost.
Well, you can't. Is it really exclusive to the UK?
Suit. Nations that wear suits.
No,
maybe is there a French brute in a suit? Is there? Well, I think it is Oliver Reed as James Bond. He'd have to be 6 inches taller, but basically that is a brute in the suit. And I think it's a Conti GT W12. That is what I think it is. I think it's an extraordinary engine and an extraordinary car, but at the same time, the car's kind of so civilized. You look through the windows, there's nothing that gives it away until it goes and it's gone. Yeah. W12, Conti GT.
I mean, the brute in the suit thing is it a lovely way of describing Q? Are we talking notions of Q? Or is it actually?
Wondered that.
Or is it actually? I view it something. It's slightly different. Q is deliberately misrepresenting your performance potential. You know, Q is about hiding. Brute in a suit carries with it notions of deportment, of tailoring, of proportion. So you're not necessarily trying to hide your performance potential. You're just trying to present it in a very dignified way.
Civilized.
I think, So I wonder whether,
occasionally,
if that's the case, I don't agree that it's exclusively British. I think the majority of those cars are British because the brands that we have, Aston Martin, Bentley in particular, seem to embrace it more. But I do like some of the German interpretations of this. I think W124 500E pre-facelift, because of course it was E500 after the facelift, but pre-facelift, that is a brute in a suit for me. It's an amazing car. And maybe the way that I would define it, it's a vehicle that could match a 911 in the 80s, but was practical and had that sort of tailoring to it. I think the first generation Audi S8 is a brute in a suit, because I think that was a car that could do 160 miles an hour but looked beautiful. I think a 750i BMW E32 short wheelbase, wide kidneys is a brute in a suit.
How many are you doing? Is this more than one? Or?
Yeah. I'm literally going to do exactly what I asked you not to do. I'm going to go for.
Keep going. It's good.
Yeah,
It's
we're
good.
enjoying
I
it.
just
Good.
don't-
We like it.
You put me in a corner where it has to be British, and I'm thinking on my feet. It's not.
I know.
It's not. It's not.
No,
it's a
it's not
Conti
really.
tea. It's a Conti tea.
Is there a French brute in a suit?
No way. There couldn't be a French brute in a suit.
But there
SM?
is.
Do
SM?
you?
CX Turbo?
No. Fassel Vega?
Fossil
Fasselvega.
Vega,
Maybe,
maybe.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
I
Le
would say.
brute in le suit.
All I can see with the French brute in a suit is Macron being battered by his wife through the door of that presidential aeroplane. And for a while, that's killed the idea of a French brute in a suit. I think the Fassel Vega is otherwise perfect.
Okay, right. So
Brute in a
we're going
suit.
to do a two-car garage now. Manish, did I give you the chance to talk about this? I didn't, did I?
Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
I'm
Conti.
massive delay on my
W12.
internet now. I apologise. Right.
Yeah.
Two-car garage. You're at that age
Fine.
where
Wine.
hitting 0 to 60 in 4 seconds and having cars that corner on rails is no longer the main priority in life. Instead, you want two civilized cars with ride quality that caresses your spine rather than rattling it. One car will be kept in London. You'd be happy to be ensconced in it, whether at 20 or stuck in traffic. The other is for driving to your home in the lakes. Budget is £40,000. I just want to remind people or share with people Neil Clifford's reaction to this one, which was, oh no, it's another boring fucker getting old two-car garage. We don't need any more old fart two-car
Look, Finley
garages
is going to
after
set them.
this. We don't need any more two old
Finley
fart
is
garages
setting
after
these.
this. Right, Neil, you can go
Finley is
fast.
setting.
Boring fucker one. Go on, Neil.
Okay. I'm just actually doing it. Hold on. Oh fuck.
There you go.
Well, we'll have to bid him down a lot on that one. Sometimes you like. I love the idea of synchronicity. I love a two-car garage from one mark. It's a sort of slightly ADHD in me. You know, it would be helpful with the dealership, with the servicing. You'd be friends with the parts guy. You know, you wouldn't have to. You know, once you've been persuaded them, oh, would you mind coming up and pick? I'm at work. Would you pick it up for me for the service? You got one person to charm to help you. So I'm going one mark only, and I'm choosing two cars that actually both of them I've got itches like bad teenage eczema that I really want both of these cars. Or in fact, it's not really teenage, is it? Early. My eczema was bad early.
Yeah, you're going to need a lot of ointment for that.
Yeah, oil of elatum in my bath. So I'm going BMW, obviously, because they have just a lovely ride, and a lot of this story was about comfort. So you bollocks to Audi, forget it. Not one Audi's ever comfortable, and also Mercedes as well. They're a bit shit. So I'm going BMW, and I'm going both hybrid. I'm going an i8 because I really want an i8.
Hmm.
And I thought that would be lovely driving up to the lakes, because is an i8 a supercar? There's a question.
It's more of a supercar.
I think it almost is in a
than a
way.
911. It's more of a supercar than a 911.
Yeah, I think it is, because it's got the wow factor, it's got the doors, it's got the space age. It looks like a fucking X.
Yeah.
What are those Star Wars planes?
X-Wing.
Yeah, X-Wing. Yeah, X-Fighter. So I'm going for one of those, and there's one available on Car and Classic for £34,000. So you bid him down for 30 because there's about 100 for sale. But and then I've got £5,000 left. I'm going for an i3
Mega.
because I really want one of those. I missed
Very
that.
good.
I missed that moment, and I regret missing that moment. I'd have the one with the little engine and the
Rex.
front. You'd never run out of petrol. I know our mayor doesn't like those ones anymore or whatever, but you don't want to run out of electricity, do you? So you'd have that. You choose wisely. You'd have that sort of blue with that brown leather and that lovely bleached wood.
Yeah.
I can't afford the one with the CarPlay, but there's probably a bloke in Harrow that will put CarPlay in it for 300 quid. So I've got 40 grand, and I've got synchronicity on the driveway, which I think is nice.
Feel good hit the summer, that is. Manish.
I'm a little bit in love with your Daimler, and I have found
Oh,
a 2001 4-litre V8
Oh,
X306 308, sorry, for sale. That's going to be on the market in 7 days, and I think that is a V8 piece of joy. I really do, and I can see me bombing up and down the motorway in that in utter comfort.
mm.
What do you think?
but wonderful car.
Beautiful.
Wonderful car.
Silver and black. I'm so in love with your Daimler. I just think it's a perfect car.
It's
And
for sale.
For London, I thought this was just great. Actually, it's a little bit off piste, but 2005 Maserati Spider, the 4200.
Fantastic
Ooh.
value car, Manish.
I think you probably get that for, I don't know, 12, 15,000 pounds. Easy peasy. But can you imagine, you're just doing 20 miles an hour in your Cambi Corso with the hood down. You don't care. You're stuck in a traffic jam. You don't
In that
care.
car, that's lucky. Yeah.
I think that's my garage. That's my
That's
garage.
good.
I think you've done well there.
Thank you.
Chris Cooper.
I think I've lost this, to be honest. I
Great
think
way
this
in.
is not my finest, but I think there are two. I really like the idea of one of those. A Suffix A Range Rover. This one goes on auction about a week after this starts. It's had all the major work done on it. 63,000 miles. It's in Bristol, so Chris, you can look at it for me. I think that would be quite cool for just a car in town that would just run over anything nasty and bumpy. I think that would be right. And for somewhere up in the Lake District, I think, and this is quite good. I do really like this one. And this goes, this starts sort of at the weekend that this goes out.
Classic auctions,
I
by
mean,
the way,
how
people get on
pretty
there.
is
Car
that?
Classic, get on there.
Oh,
It's a primrose yellow Lotus Elan S4,
Elan,
not
I did see that. It's a
yeah.
babe of a car.
not twin cam, a beautiful S4. Really, really simple thing. I think that would be absolutely lovely for the Lake District. That's what
It's
I
still
think.
it's still a twin cam.
Yeah, but not the sort of the silly, sort of the sorry, not the
No,
sprint.
but it-
Sorry, not the sprint.
Yeah, it's still fast as hell, those things, cross country.
They are. They're lovely. I
Right.
mean, they are just a lovely gearbox.
I've read the description here, and I think I've interpreted this better than you lot. So, one of these cars is to be kept in London, the other one is to drive up to the Lake District. Now, who agrees that if you're lucky enough to own a few cars, if you apportion those cars a role, the distance car, the city car, the car to have when you have a Le Mans, the car to have when you're depressed, you've always got the wrong car. You've always got the wrong one at your disposal. When you're at the traffic lights and you've got that irritating twerp next to you, you're in your bloody Defender when you want to be in the 911 Turbo. You've always got the wrong blade of the Swiss Army knife out. You want to have the other one. It's bloody annoying. So my solution here is I'm buying two cars that do the same thing. So I'm always in something that's suitable for the purpose. Because I know if I keep my sports car in the lakes, I'm going to want to drive it down in town, and I actually want to use the long distance car to do the long trip. You're in the wrong machine always.
There's some truth in that. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm going for a comfort first of all. I'm having two saloon cars because ultimately saloon cars are the best cars. 528i done what 60,000. It's not an auction car classic. Peak car doesn't get any better. It's a very original car. It's a slightly sad description. Read it. It's deceased estate, but it's an amazing car. 528i, and it looks very original and it's been loved. The second car,
Great car,
does the same thing. We bought that for 10 grand, by the way. It was advertised for 12. The second car does the same thing, but I love these Giulia Quadrifolios. I think they are some of the most desirable, nearly new cars on sale. It's a 4-door Ferrari. You get that for 30 grand. £30,000 for a Giulia Quadrifoglio. So you've got two saloon cars. One's a bit faster than the other, but whichever one ends up in the lakes, you're going to have a great drive. Whichever one ends up in town, you're going to be happy. You're not going to be in the wrong machine.
Yeah.
You'll always be in the right machine.
That Alpha, that's 30 grand for a supercar. That is.
That is more of a supercar than a
Can they
911.
have?
Is it not? It's got 4 seats.
I've just bought a 4-door supercar.
What have you bought?
You have a Phantom.
Rapide.
Yes,
No.
yes, of course.
The Rapide. Is a Rapide a supercar?
It's more of a supercar than a
Or is
911.
it just a shit car?
That's
it's
more
a
of a
shit
supercar
car.
than a 911.
Not a shit car.
Isn't it?
I think if you're V12, you're straight in the supercar club.
So we're going to move on to
We're doing
news
good. We're doing good.
Now, Peter from GP, who I've spoken about earlier, who did the most incredible job trimming the Integrale. We put together a sort of an homage to an Instagram video that really inspired us a while ago. We saw an Alpine head unit with an equalizer, and it was playing this song. It was on Instagram. And I just forwarded him saying, we need this in this car. We need this. You got to have flashing LEDs, and you got to have a 7618R Alpine 3345 or 3347 amp. And it was snaps the power. This guy pushes the cassette in, and it starts playing Snap the Power. It might be the most 80s dance track of all, isn't it? It's an incredible, and it's potentially, and we know that cowbell has been used successfully, but it's one of my favorite cowbells of all time. It's absolutely intoxicating tune. So Snap the Power, and big props to my main men, Peter and Dara, for those two stunning cars at Bicester this week. Neil.
Automatic for the People REM was released 1992, October the 5th. And I played it on my way to the Scramble, and I've probably recommended this song before because I love this album. Night Swimming.
Yeah.
Cool.
Nice song.
Great shit. Manish.
Japan. Gentlemen Take Polaroids, that album, played it forwards, backwards, left and right. And then when I can't remember when it came out, but basically sometime afterwards, there was a track that they recorded for the album that they didn't put on the album because they didn't think it fitted the album, but it's a beautiful track, and it's called Some Kind of Fool, and it's just wonderful. David Sylvian, Japan, Some Kind of Fool.
Chris Cooper.
Driving up to Newcastle last Wednesday evening in my week in cars, feeling really crap from that lurgy, I ended up by chance listening to Get the Message by Electronic. And that kept me going. Good song.
That was the collab between the Pet Shop Boys and New Order. Yeah, the guy from New Order.
Yeah.
He's got a great voice.
Yeah.
He's got a great voice, yeah. Okay, people. Thank you very much for bearing with us there. An impassioned set of opinions. Please add to the comments now. And tell us what you think is a supercar or not. I don't do this very often, but I'm going to promote this one. I'm going to take a selfie of us doing this. Right, okay. There we go. Next week is episode 58. I hope you come and join us. So from Chris Cooper, from Neil Clifford, from Manish Pandey and myself, have a lovely rest of your Friday.